Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. Thanks for joining this session, which is a short and sweet session for 45 minutes. What we'll be covering in this session would be the data governance from an Informatica point of view and how it enables the existing Informatica users and extend their skill sets and leverage new capabilities. The presenters for today, my name is Anand, and I look after data governance for Informatica within Asia Pacific region. I'm based out of Melbourne, and my co-presenter is Brad Starr, who is based out of Sydney. I'll let him introduce himself. He'll be covering what the Zero sessions are and what is in store in the next few months to come. Brad, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you again for joining us. You know, I've been in Informatica for over 2.5 years, and whilst this is not a long time, you know, I've seen a significant change in the enterprise requirements for, you know, data and certainly for data management. You know, this has ultimately put pressure on many of you who are on this call and to meet the needs of the business. And what we've done with these webinars is really designed to give you some more insights into how you can use your skill sets along with Informatica to help your organizations transform and grow with data and help you become a hero within your business. You know, we'll be doing many of these over the next coming months. One will be on MDM. We'll do another one around next generation analytics, one around data integration in the cloud and application integration in the cloud. And we'll continue to do them every month to help you gain better insights into what Informatica can do to help you, again, become a hero within your organization. I hope you enjoy this session. Please provide us some feedback around what you want to see going forward. We'd love to receive that from you. And I'm going to head back to Anand. All the best, Anand.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. Over the next half hour, what we will be doing is we'll be giving you an overview of data governance from an Informatica point of view, and then we will have a quick demonstration of Informatica's solution with respect to data governance. And at the end, we will have some time for Q&A, questions from you, so we can share some of our thoughts. With that, let's move on with the session. And there are quite a number of challenges that we are facing in this digital world. We have seen so many changes. If you've been in the industry for as long as I have been, I've been in the industry for more than 20 years, there have been quite a number of challenges with respect to the infrastructure changes, going to cloud, big data platforms coming up for various different reasons, good and for good, obviously. And this has obviously changed the way we did see data and management of the data itself. In addition to that, of course, the regulatory compliance. There are quite a few compliance and regulatory pressures that are coming from whichever industry you are in. There will be some form of shape that is coming in. Specifically focused on banking and insurance sector, there are quite a few of them. The BCBS 239, we heard CPG 235 in Australia, which is APRA mandated. Then you got a few privacy acts. You've seen the Cambridge Analytica, the Facebook issue that we've seen. That's ramping up quite a bit of privacy-related regulations. GDPR, the data protection regulation that is very much prevalent in Europe, and quite a number of organizations who are dealing with European citizens are affected through that process. And of course, from a general profit accounting perspective, which is IFRS 17. There's some of these that I've been hearing and I'm seeing customers tackling in the last year or two. And of course, there are quite a number of applications that are popping up, which also demanding a need for a better data management or intelligent data management that's required. All this required trustworthy data in order for you to go through digital journeys. Data quality and understanding of data from where it is coming from, where it's going, it's all critical. And of course, these data management difficulties, you would have seen many of these if you bear it down further, understanding the data better, providing some credibility so that the business can trust the data and then make use of it to make those business decisions. Whether it is a compliance or regulatory reasons or from a growth perspective, either way, you need data, and data is the key asset everyone is talking about, but how do we make sure that it is a key asset and the users who ultimately make the difference from a business perspective are able to leverage it and make use of it on a day-to-day basis to address their challenges, which is key. So how do we solve these problems? I mean, these business challenges we are seeing it day in, day out. We are all data practitioners, and we are seeing this day in, day out. We understand the value of data, but how do we communicate that? Technology, as I keep saying, is an enabler. It helps you get there a lot quicker. It's just like walking from one place to the other, flying. Both achieve the same result, but one is more efficient and quicker to get through, so that you can address your challenges at the same time work on more. So hence Informatica's platform solving many of these challenges. What we'll be focusing on today, and some of you might be very well aware of Informatica's data integration pedigree. We have been in this for the last 25 years. And some of you have been using probably our capabilities in big data space, and of course from a cloud data management point of view. But what you might not, also you might have touched upon the metadata management aspects of it, but what you might not have been exposed to is probably the data governance solution, which entails some of these capabilities that you might have touched upon already. So that's the goal for the next half hour or so. And underpinning all these, the most critical component is the metadata intelligence that we see right here at the bottom of this picture. And that provides the artificial intelligence or the machine learning to identify insights into the metadata that we collect throughout the data journey and provide that for a better use so that you can understand where the data is coming, where it's going, what's being done, how things are connected together, what's the meaning of each of these. Just to quickly touch upon what data governance is, things have evolved. We have seen and heard data governance for the last 15 odd years. It's not something new. However, we have implemented data governance in a particular way that hasn't been that effective, and that's what we're seeing. And with the changing world, the changing nature of the digital world, obviously there are new ways that we need to think about in order to make it more efficient and relevant. So the three key themes for Informatica's data governance, what we call it version 3.0, is the business understanding. We always keep hearing business users saying that I don't understand the data that we provide from an IT perspective, even though IT has done all the work, still the business users don't get a better appreciation for the data. If we have the usage of that data or provide a contextual view of the data, then the business users can join the journey along with IT to provide a better outcome to the organization. Second one is about collaboration. It is not just about one function's working in silo or in isolation. It is about the cross-functional view. No single department work in silo. There is some kind of dependency with other departments within every organization. So collaboration is the fundamental aspect of making governance successful. And finally, a graphical view. It's all interconnected. Things that we do in finance is connected with something in operations, which we connected with someone who is working on the products. It's all interrelated. The connectivity is the key to the success of governance. So some of the key principles and how it helps you in your journey from a data perspective as a data practitioner. As I mentioned earlier, collaboration is the key. So different stakeholders across the board can work together. Everyone has some piece of the puzzle in their head or something that they control, if they bring it to bear in an open platform that everyone can make use of and understand and add value, the collective knowledge becomes even more powerful. It's 1 + 1 = 3. And of course, from a connection perspective, when we talk about governance, we talk about from a business point of view, all we have seen so far are the business definitions, what we call the conceptual world or the logical world. And from an IT perspective, what we've been used to and what we've been dealing with is all the operational or the technical view, which is the physical layer, where the data flows through, where it's physically manifested. How do we bring this together? If we connect the policies, the business policies or the regulatory policies or the business processes with the technical details of where the data is residing, you get a much more powerful view, and that will be more contextual and useful. And of course, with this kind of an approach, users can act with authority and confidence. And finally, the last one is critical that I need to highlight, which is about data access to all. When we talk about data, we are talking about information about data. It's not the actual data itself where it needs to be restricted or whatnot. Here it's about providing the value of where the data resides, what it's used for, who's using it, how it's being used. All this information is so critical for everyone to know, which makes it much easier to do business. So these are the fundamental principles of Informatica's intelligent data governance solution. One last thing from that point of view is traditionally governance has been a top-down approach. Things were coming from the top. Everyone has to align to it. And when we get this kind of instructions, we tend to follow those instructions in a reluctant way, which basically would mean it's less effective. Whereas if you have a much more open and collaborative approach where information flow can happen both top-down as well as bottom-up, decisions can be made in a more constructive way, it is more efficient. That's the goal of Informatica's data governance solution. And how does it fit into your world? You might, as I assume, you might be familiar with some of these capabilities which are in the operational implementation world that you see, data integration from an ETL point of view, data masking, protecting the data, sensitive information, archiving of data or mastering of data. These are all at the physical level the data is getting manifested and how the technology is enabled. In addition to that, of course, some of you might have touched upon data quality, or most of you might have done that. Data catalog is from a metadata point of view. We'll be viewing that in a bit. These are some of the capabilities in the physical world where the data is dealt with and handled. What is being introduced in the Informatica platform is what's called Axon, which provides the business workbench for business users to view data in a contextual manner. So it could be a person whose day in life is just in business processes. They might be dealing with customer onboarding. When they onboard the customer, they will be dealing with customers' critical information. And if any of this critical information is invalid or incomplete, then the whole purpose of that business process is going to fail. And that poor data quality or poor understanding of the data leads to poor decisions. So I could be onboarding a customer and I might be doing background checks. If I'm doing a background check and if I find out that the customer information that I've collected is incorrect, what I will end up as an output of that background check would be someone with bad credit history could get an application approved, while someone with good credit history would have their application rejected. So these are the things that we would want to avoid, and how enabling an individual to see the data and the status of the data so that they can fix the issues and address them, provide a great value to the organization. So you can not only retain customers, but also gain more customers with that confidence that we have. So when we talk about this information, when we have, there are business users in the chief data office, it could be in business operations. There are various different functions of the business. And the understanding of these various different functions exist. It's in the organization, every organization. But what is missing though is the connection between them. As I mentioned earlier, no single department works in silo. There is some level of interaction that happens between these various different business functions. And only when we connect them together are we able to identify and look at our perspective. The same data can be viewed by different individuals in a different way because their perspective from a legal angle could be different to someone who is looking at it from a management strategy point of view or someone who's looking at it from a business process point of view. Everyone has their lens to view the data. And able to provide that context is the most critical missing piece so far in our technology world. And that is one of the critical things that Informatica's data governance solution is looking to address. So how does the solution hang together? Many of you know what data catalog or metadata collections would be, and that's what is required for the understanding of what data is residing where and when and how it's being used. Then, of course, as I mentioned about the connection, how are these pieces of the puzzle connected together so that we can get those lenses, bring our lenses out and view it the way we want it so that we can make our critical decisions. And finally, when we go through this journey, we would want to understand what's the quality of the data, which is through the control, to understand what quality of data we have for those critical assets so that we can make those decisions in a more confident manner. And of course, timely, right? So the execution is where, from an IT perspective, we come in, work in conjunction or collaboratively with the business users who identify the challenges and fix them so that when they revisit that with that piece of the puzzle, they have the right information for them to make those decisions. So over a period of time, through the collaborative approach, you get a better outcome. So that's pretty much what I want to cover from a slide point of view, just to give you a quick overview of what Informatica's data governance mean to each and every one of you. You've been practitioners, data practitioners, how it enables you to add another feather to your glorified career and take it on and internally be the champion and support the data governance journeys. And especially, there are quite a number of different jargons that come out. And if you hear any of these that are related to data governance, you know what you could look for and how it can be added to that journey. Informatica's solution, how it can help you get to the final outcome. So with that, I'll quickly switch over to my demo environment to show you what this means. Some of these principles that I was talking about earlier, how is it reflected in the actual solution itself? With that, just give me a second to share my screen. So I'm sharing my screen. Hope you can see it. Can any one of you confirm that you can see my screen?
I can see it. Thanks, Ned.
Yeah, thank you. So what I'm showing you here, Axon, is the data governance business workbench. The word axon comes out of the fact that everyone's brain has got neurons which are connected together. The connection between the neurons are called axon. And it's the same principle applies to the business world where data elements need to be connected together. So what you're seeing at the top are various different catalogs that you have. A data set, it could be a report, could be a table, it could be a file, whatever it might be, which is aligned to the technical world. Attributes could be aligned to columns and fields in the technical world. Systems could be aligned to a database, it could be aligned to an application, whatever it might be. So these are some of the things which are aligned to the technology world. And of course, glossary is one thing that we are all familiar with, which we have been talking about. This was the only dimension that we had from a business world. This was the only business metadata that we used to manage so far. But it's so unidimensional. When we talk about a definition, all we are talking about is description of what a field means and how is it getting utilized and what are the regulations which might come out. It's very unidimensional. But when you add other dimensions like process, business process to it, we get a much more powerful view. Then we of course have data quality rules and how it impacts the business metadata, which is another dimension, and the controls that it brings in. Finally, you got people. Similar to these, there are 25 different out-of-the-box catalogs that Informatica's Axon provide. So as you can see here, what I have added by default are these ones. I can chop and change this view depending on who I am. If I'm a process person, I can add the process to the mix and then apply the change. Immediately, what we will get to see is the catalog will get added to the view that I've been having so far. Here we go. And we can see the process.
Be mindful, it's just a little small delay on the screen, mate, so just give people time to look at it.
Okay, thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. So what I've done right now is I have added a process view or the process catalog, which is nothing but a list of business processes which have been highlighted. And there are many other catalogs of this sort. So you can see there are policies. It could be GDPR, it could be IFRS 17. Any of these definitions could go in here. You can have change requests from a business project point of view. You can have actual business projects themselves. You can have business areas. You can have organizational capabilities. You can have legal entity. And there are quite a number of different views that you can have with regards to how you view data. These are the various lenses that we were talking about. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take one of these examples here from a process point of view. I mean, there's quite a bit that we can cover, but what I'm going to show you is quickly how data can be visualized from a business process perspective so that as a business user, they can value the data that we're providing, and also how a business user can interact with the IT users in a manner where the communication can be much more streamlined, so that if they find some issue with the data, they can highlight it in a way it's much easier for IT to understand and fix the problem so that the business can move on and make those decisions. So what I'm going to do here, and just to highlight the fact that it's a connected world, is I'm going to just key in anti-money laundering, or let me call it AML. So as soon as I key in AML, anything that is associated to, it's a semantic search, so it's a search engine called Unison. As soon as I key in AML, immediately it pops up with all the suggestions as to what are the different processes which have AML associated to it. So let me pick the anti-money laundering here and do a search. There are quite a number of different ways you can do the search, and you can filter them up and down, but this is just a keyword search that I'm doing right now. As soon as I do it, you would have seen each and every individual catalog was also changing its view to say that, okay, when I picked up the anti-money laundering process, I immediately can see that there are about 12 data sets that are associated with this process, about 11 attributes that are associated with this process, 4 systems that's getting touched upon by this business process, about 10 definitions, business terms that are defined, and there are about 13 data quality rules, and about 3 stakeholders who are involved in that process. and many more. The more views that I add, the more I get to see how the connections are. And this is what is the fundamental shift in the way we are looking at governance, the connected world, which is critical. And this is where the graph comes together. We live in a world of social media, the social network, and how things connected, we all know, right? And the power of that connection. And that's exactly what's happening here. As soon as I filter down, you can have these various different views. I can click on maps. I get a tailored view of the map, which is nothing but a system map of all the systems that are linked with that business process. So you can see there are direct links. You can see there are quite a number of systems, and some of them are directly linked. These 4 systems are directly linked to the process. However, we're also getting to see there are quite a number of other systems that we are not aware of, but they are connected to these systems. I can have a data set level view, which is much more drill down view. I can have dashboards. I can have a data quality dashboard, which is associated with this anti-money laundering process, where I can see that I can draw a few things and I can modify this, and immediately this changes. So you can see that the completeness, accuracy, validity, and timeliness of the data that is associated with the process. You can see all of this. Now let me go back into the process itself and click on one of these, just to give you a more detailed view of the process itself. You can visually represent, there are quite a number of definitions that we can provide here, the life cycle of the process and whatnot. And once I get to the process map, I get to see what's happening to the process. What are the various steps involved in the business process? So review of client documentation, investigate the client's personal background. So we are seeing this. This is a business process. There are the 5 steps involved. Now the beauty of this is now I can overlay this with the glossary terms that are associated to it, the systems that are linked to it, the data quality rules, or the data quality of the data, the critical data that we are using at various steps. As I mentioned earlier, a background check, if there is good quality data or bad quality data, would dictate how the applications are managed. So in this case, you can see that the address of residence is one of the components that form a part of the background check that seem to be only 75% valid, which is below the threshold to make an informed decision. And there are various different factors that can form a part of that. Now, as a business user, I can see that there is a challenge. I can go in and say, now I want to know what systems are involved in this so that I can take the necessary step. So I can see that it's Documentum as a system. I can go directly to that system so that I can know who the stakeholder of that system is. And I can follow up with that stakeholder and ask them to address the key challenge. I can go in and let them know that I'm seeing data quality issues. Can you go fix it? These are the issues that I'm facing. And as a stakeholder, they can pick it up from where that business user is left and drill down further into the technical world, see where the data is coming from, what's being done to it from a transformation perspective, by going into the enterprise catalog, which is from a technical world. And this is all interlinked, by the way. I'm just quickly trying to show you so that from Axon itself, we can directly get to the enterprise catalog and view what needs to be done. This is, again, a metadata, the new world or the next generation metadata solution where all the various different technical assets are cataloged so that we can view them. I can have a semantic search here as well. I can look at a sales report. And as soon as I type in anything that is linked to a report or a sales report pops up. And I can click on the report. I can see various different aspects of the report. I can look at the lineage and impact. And I can also see that the business term is associated to it. And there are quite a lot of machine learning related aspects that you will get to see within this solution, which enables your journey. So I can see that it's a Tableau resource, which is coming from Oracle and Hive sources. I can click on this address here to see a bit more, because address residence is where the problem is. I can go into the asset details, and I can see profiling being done for that database table. I can click on one of these country here, and I can see a much more drilled down distribution of what countries we have, and then I can look at its individual relationships. What are the other columns that are associated to it? What are the data domains? What are the business terms that are linked to it? Which are the users who are using it? There could be many more other dimensions, like which are the reports who are using it and whatnot. So this is just to give you a quick flavor of what this can do. I'm not doing enough justice to the solution. However, this is just to give you a flavor of what can be done with Informatica solution in support of your data governance journey. And of course, you can drill down to the technical transformation level and view the lineage and understand what's coming from where, what's been done to the data, and whatnot. So coming back to Axon, that's how a business user can identify a data issue, connect with the IT stakeholders, and get them to address it. They can go in and further drill down, identify what the root causes are, and fix them. Similarly, from a data quality itself, the execution of that, a business user can define a data quality rule, pass it on to the data quality solution where it can be actually implemented and executed against the actual data sets. The results of them come back. So that's the level of integration we have put in together. They're modular in nature, at the same time they work together. With that, I will go back to the data quality, the presentation to touch upon a few things. So one last thing that I want to show you is the integration to Tableau, how you can view the technical assets or definitions of what a particular term means and where it's getting used, where it's getting sourced, and so on. So if I start this, what we can see here is a Tableau environment, in that there is it's a plugin to your browser through which you get to see the catalog definition. And as soon as you go into one of the dashboard reports and click on the definition, you get to see the customer definition, what are the data sources that are providing that customer data, and they can further drill down into the report and view. In this case, we're viewing the gender by state, and immediately as soon as you click on that, it's popping up with its definition and the details, and you click on the data source itself. It'll give you the details that I showed you a bit earlier. So this is an integration natively done within Tableau through a plugin. So it's non-intrusive. At the same time, as a Tableau user, you get to see the value of data or the value of the catalog. So with that, I will go back to finish off the presentation just to give you. I'll stop sharing now. Can you see my slide, my presentation?
We can. We missed the Tableau bit, but we can certainly see your presentation.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So some of the things that we were talking about, the artificial intelligence and cataloging, the technical cataloging that I showed you from the enterprise catalog point of view, and how it interacts with Axon, which is the business workbench. So some of the components that I covered about the data set and attribute work with the data domains and in the physical world and how it's linked to the technical assets. So the definition, like the business terms, goes down to the catalog level, which is tied to the technical assets, and the discovery results go back into Axon for the business users to view. And this is how we connect the logical world with the physical world. And of course, from a business level lineage, we saw the system view as well as the process view, all those business level views, which enable business users to understand the data better. That can be trickled down into the more technical view where users can understand to the detail level as to what table, which database, what fields are connected together, and what transformation has been done. And that kind of connection can be, that's all integrated right now, and there will be much more of the integration that will keep happening as we go along the journey. And from a data quality point of view, the definitions can be provided by the business users. The actual implementation of that definition can be done by IT architects or data stewards. They can execute the data quality rule, the results that come out of those execution, that'll go back to Axon for visualization from a contextual point of view for the business users to make those decisions. So again, collaboration at play. We saw connection. We saw collaboration between business users as well as between business users and IT users. And then finally, one thing that I did not cover in detail, but it's very much topical from a privacy perspective as well as from a GDPR point of view, is the data security aspect of it. So I don't know whether any of you have seen what Informatica's view of data security is, which is all about securing the data where it's residing and how the policies can directly view what is being protected and what's not within Axon itself, and then further drill down for classification within secure source as a solution. With that, I will open it up for Q&A. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks, Anand. That was fantastic. I think one of the questions we've got, and I think a number of questions, in fact, around that Tableau, plugin. Could you just redo that for us very quickly? I know we've got very little time, but if you could just show that on the single screen, that'd be fantastic.
I can do that. Why not? So let me go back to my screen share very quickly.
Are you there?
Yep. So can you see the screen now?
We're loading right now. So go ahead. You can see it.
Okay. So what I'm showing you here, apologies, I thought that you're able to see it earlier. What I'm showing you here is how Informatica's Enterprise Catalog, which is a metadata management and cataloging solution, how is it viewed from within Tableau? And many of the organizations have Tableau as a data visualization solution. And as a part of that, how are they able to understand, as a business user, how are they able to understand the data elements or the definitions better from within the report itself? So here in this case, this is a quick 50-second recording. In this, what we're showing here is there is a plugin to your browser, and you connect and keep it there on the side. It's non-intrusive. It'll be sitting on the side as a logo, Informatica logo. As soon as you open any report which has got customer details in it, it opens up the definition of a customer and where it's coming from and whatnot. And then in addition to that, when you click on gender split by state as a report, and if you're clicking on one of these, it'll again pop up with what do you mean by gender, by state, split by state, what does it mean, where it's coming from. If you click on the data source itself, it gives you more details as to what I showed earlier, the profiling of that particular source, what's happening to it, and when you click on that link, it takes you directly into the catalog itself for further viewing. that's a quick snapshot of what you can do with the Tableau plugin.
Thanks, Anand. Thanks, Anand. And if anyone's interested in that, I'm happy to have one of my team come out and help demonstrate that within your organisations. I think we're now finishing the demonstration along with the presentation. I want to thank Anand for his time in putting this together. I want to thank you all again for joining this session. I think some of the outcomes of this session might be that you want to start a trial or look at you're doing a POC around data governance, or you want to talk to our team about some of the customers we've implemented, or even the timelines of what it might take. Some of the gotchas of how organisations have implemented data governance within their business and what lessons we've learned from implementing data governance. We're happy to talk to you about those. I think also I'd like you to all to reach out to us via LinkedIn and also give us some feedback about the session. I've started a Informatica Heroes webinar group. Please join that group on LinkedIn. We'd love to see your feedback and hear anything more that you're looking forward to see going forward. Again, we've got other sessions lined up for next month and certainly for the months coming around master data management, next generation analytics, cloud application integration, and many more. And if you've got any suggestions around what they might look like and what you'd like to see, we'd be interested in hearing that as well. But again, thank you for your time. Thank you, Anand. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time, and you have a pleasant day ahead.